Welcome Taurus to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 15th of April for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. I think it's fair to say that you've probably been doing quite a bit of soul searching of late, or at least reflecting, just really perhaps considering what's occurred over the last 12 months or perhaps further back into your life. And that's because of all the energies, including your ruler in your 12th house, which is a very meditative area. It's also one where we can heal. It's also one where we may need to detach a little bit more from others. And with Mercury in retrograde in the 12th house, perhaps you have felt a little bit cut off or not so much in touch with other people. Well, the great news for you, Taurus, is that this week the Sun is going to move back into your sign for the first time in 11 months. When on Friday, it travels into Taurus, but as it does go into a right angle with Pluto. But I'll tell you more about that shortly. But also last week, of course, Mars applied to Saturn. There may have been a tense moment around a friendship or maybe a future plan that had been really important to you suddenly felt a bit blocked or inhibited. And that too has been feeding that need to just take a little bit of time out and really consider all your options. But of course, the other massive story this week is the fact that Jupiter meets Uranus in your sign for the first time in 14 years. This is an aspect which definitely has opportunities, but it does have some challenges in some ways. But because Uranus has been with you full time since 2019, it's given you quite a lot of practice to get used to its sometimes turbulent energies. What it's really been encouraging you to do is in some ways leave behind the more security conscious part of your nature and go for the things that make you feel alive and fresh and stimulated. So the combination with Jupiter, which of course is the planet of fortune and the planet of growth, is really asking you to have that confidence to be individual. And that's the crux of this week, because with Pluto applying to the Sun, maybe is you're needing to work with or work for someone who has got a more traditional view of life or a more traditional expectation of the way you should be. And perhaps that's part of what you've been pondering of late. Where do you apply the person you are becoming in this fast changing world? Well, the real ace in the pack for you this week, Taurus, is Mars. Because as the week goes on, Mars escapes the clutches of Saturn, but then stimulates both Jupiter and Uranus. Now that reaches a peak on Friday, but he's still going to be there supporting Jupiter and Uranus when they have that big meeting on Sunday. So a lot of extra dynamism is coming into your situation as this week goes on. It is true that the quarter moon is a bit tricky. I still feel that there's someone or some people that have proved to be a little bit disappointing. Or you may be finding yourself much more sensitive to what you read online, whether it's the news or what people share on Facebook, and just the overwhelm that we can all suffer with all the information that pounds our senses is something that this week I still feel is something you need to detach yourself from. So focus very single-mindedly on what's important to you, but you may be needing to accept that some people who have been part of your life are making way. However, that's not a 100% fact, because as Venus meets the retreating Mercury, and that is on Friday, someone who you thought had been strangely out of touch could get in touch, and that can really please you. And it just turns out that, just like you, they've had a lot of distractions, a lot of things to deal with, and that's why they've not been in touch. But there may be some players or groups of people that you are starting to move away from, even if it feels they're moving away from you. So it can be a sensitive week still, but by the end of the week, a huge opportunity to recover your drive, your physical vitality, your self-belief is going to present itself, but with all those planets and influences still in the 12th house, it is important to integrate the more spiritual and psychological part of your being into the part of you really wants to get on the front foot, get stuck in, make things happen. So if you do find that energy come into you at the end of the week, it is important still to be very much in touch with your senses still. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Taurus. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week. And if you've yet to do so, please do subscribe. We've found that 55% of people that watch my videos are not subscribers. So it would be really great if you are one of those people that you did subscribe now.